Welcome to Little Norway. Yeah, last time. I turn over the mic to the Edvard Grieg Choir.
Thank you, Scott, you and Jennifer, for your invitation this evening to this bittersweet occasion. And it could be, I think, especially appropriate this evening that we sing the anthems of Norway and the United States. We ask you to stand as you're able.
Ja, vi älskar detta landet som det stiger fram. För bär vi över vattnet med 1000 jäm. Älskar det och tänker på vår far och mor och den saga natt som sänker drömmer på vår jord och den saga natt som sänker drömmer på vår jord. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
The two songs that we're going to sing for you now are, I think, both sort of songs about memory. The first one is about a summer dance on Gull Island. It's called Dansen på Måkeskär. And the young dancers are very excited. Their cheeks are red from the exertion, and there are accordions playing in the boats as the boats arrive with more dancers and musicians. The second song might be a special welcome to our visitors from Orkdal, because it's Nidelven, and it's the song that Oscar Hade wrote about standing with his lover on the old bridge over the River Nid in Trondheim.
Dansen den går på Måkeskär i lysens sommernätter. Gurtorna svänger den där har kär i nattens friska vind. Det blåser så härligt från havet där, det skuggar och det släter. Badangelis ligger Måkeskär i ild och måneskinn. Smådagar krossar sjön, blinkar som sov om morgon. Träckspelet låter från båten ner, allting förhäxes av låten ner. Ögonen strålar och skinen, blusar så varmt i på vinden. Aldrig förglömmer jag nätterna där på Måkeskär. Blodet blir häftigt och dansen vild och alla ögon blanka. Skyggarna flockar om bålet sitt. van zilvermooien. Trekspelen loopt van boten neer, altijd voor heksen zo laten neer. Hoinen en scrollen och schienen, bluser så varmt i må vinden. Aldrig förglömmer jag nätten när upp på Måkeskär. Långt nere fjärran vart fjällen är blå, ligger ett sten jag har sett. Dit mina tankar och drömmar vill gå, alltid det är mig så när. Nidelen stille och vacker du är, här var jag går och drömmer. Drömmer om henne jag hade så kär, nu är det bara minne. Den gamla bybråa lyckans portal, sammen vi seiler i stjärneskoral. Nidalen stille och vacker du är, här var jag går och drömmer. Vundra stille och vacker du är, här var jag går och drömmer. Drömmer om henne jag hade så kär, nu är det bara minne. Den gamla bybråa lyckans portal, sammen vi seiler i stjärneskoral. Nidalen stille och vacker du är, här var jag går och drömmer.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Maybe we can do a little hum when we go into the building. If that works.
Yeah.
So, can you sit down? Wait a minute. Scott, gratulerer med dagen. Gledelig fødselsdag. Happy birthday. Thank you.
Må det länge, länge, länge leva mor. Må det länge, länge, länge leva mor. Må det länge, länge leva mor. Skål!
Over the years, this chorus has showed up for all of our events. They are used to being patient with me. As I say, it'll be just 10 minutes. It'll be just 10 minutes. It'll be just 10 minutes. And they always come and share their talent and the pride of their Norwegian heritage. Next, we're going to have Dave Cooper and Bryn Rourke do a piece. And again, another group of people that show up for our events and make beautiful music and make it all happen. So, Dave and Bryn. Okay. All the familiar faces, all the friends that show up year after year to all of our events. As Jennifer rightly says, our community. Welcome, min norsk venner. So happy to have you here. The Norwegian delegation that came from Orkdal, Norway to take the building back, of course, is here at the picnic tables. So take a look at this setting here. It'll never happen again like this. Look at the people that are here. This is the last time this will happen. But we have today. Also welcome my family. The people that grew up down here. They have this land in their heart, and this building is part of their soul. Welcome to my employees who came here to help out and then ended up being a part of Little Norway and of Friends. And also the same with the people that came to Little Norway and they came here to go through the attraction and then decided that they had to be a part of this and found a way to become a part of this. And welcome to the new people that are friends for the first time here. Welcome all. In 1927, my great uncle Isaac Daly bought this property, and he bought this to produce a place where his family could come and celebrate their Norwegian heritage. And when he bought this place, he was collecting, and he started collecting artifacts. And from 1927 to 1937, he amassed the largest collection of Norwegian artifacts that's anywhere outside of Norway that's privately owned. And of course, the crown piece of the whole collection is behind me right now. So the idea of the family having a place to come and share their Norwegian heritage with their friends and live like a little piece of Norway is here in Wisconsin, maybe a Maihaugen or a Big Doy Folk Museum, and the whole family was part of that. In the same year Little Norway opened in 1937 was the same year that Isaac Daly died, and then generation after generation perpetuated the idea of promoting and showing how immigrants came to Wisconsin, and in particular the Norwegians and their folk art and their folk costumes and crafts. He lovingly named this valley Nissedal, Valley of the Elves. He also called it Little Norway. So over 75 years of being open to the public and showing the public our rich Norwegian heritage, there are so many people to thank. Generations of people that have been coming down here and being a part, just like the people you just saw come up here. And I really can't spend the time thanking everybody because it would be hundreds of names and I would forget a few. But I would like to thank at least a few people, and most importantly, Jennifer. 20 years ago, 20 years ago, Jennifer and I came together, and every decision and every problem and every obstacle we tackled together. And we didn't always make the right decision, but most of the time I think we made the right decision, and we really locked hands as partners to do this. And I'd also like to thank Asher and Haley. These kids were lucky to grow up here, but they also had thousands of people walking through their yard all the time. And no, you can't throw the frisbee right now, you'll hit somebody. And if you find a frog, don't scream about it, just find the frog. And so it was an ideal to grow up, but also they had a tourist attraction in their backyard. As I said, there's way too many people to thank. So I'm not going to say names, but I'm so lucky. I've had an angel on my shoulder the whole time. The right man showed up at the right time. The neighbor showed up when it rained 5 inches and said, I bet you Little Norway's underwater. I should go pick up a rake and my truck and my tractor and show up. And I didn't call anybody, and they'd show up. A family member would be sitting at the sink quietly doing dishes while the event happened, and I looked good. And they're the ones supporting me all the time. And just things happen. Music happens. Cheese happens. I don't know how it is, but everything just falls into place always. And it's because of the support network we have, people making sure that Little Norway's okay. When I was a kid growing up here, this was my grandparents' farm to me. And I would come here and have, you know how it would be, it's typical, stave church in the backyard. These old buildings that immigrants made with thousands of people going through. Just a standard, typical growing up at the family farm. And I was so lucky to be able to do those and to grow up here. And of course the families have the whole same great valued experience. And then when I was 20, I was going to school in marketing tourism. And I thought, wouldn't it be great to go to Little Norway and spend the summer at Little Norway? So I thought, yeah, I'm going to go down to Little Norway. I'm going to help out my grandparents and my mother. And I'm going to yak at tourists about the artifacts and show them the buildings. I'm going to push a mower and listen to music. And I'm going to go down and have the best summer ever, truly. And so I remember sitting at the dinner table in the family kitchen. And our meal at noontime was our supper, where we would have our big meal. And I'm sitting around the table, and I'm with my grandfather, who's 92, my grandmother, who was 87, my mother, who was in her mid-50s, and I was 20. And I was talking about all the exciting things we had coming up. Is we need new brochures, and we should get some new updated postcards, and let's talk to the Division of Tourism, and maybe we could go and get involved with the Chamber of Commerce, and we'll put some new highway signs out. and maybe some banners. And I want to put new lights in the gatehouse so we can sell things. And my grandfather looked at me, and at 92 years old, he never really made eye contact. And he looked me in the eye and he said, "Don't get used to this job, it won't last long." Now, this is my 34th year here and my 35th summer. Today's my last day of summer. And nobody had a better summer than I did. I was so lucky to mow the lawn, and yak at tourists, eventually get a new sign, eventually get new brochures. But nobody was luckier than me to come and spend one summer here. And today's the day. So as you know, about 3 years ago we closed Little Norway, and it was a big decision for Jennifer and I, and we agonized over it. But when that decision was made, it was strong, and we knew, excuse me, we knew we had to find the next thing for Little Norway, which is a discussion that had been going on for over 70 years. What's the next thing for Little Norway? And we decided that, well, we made many choices that didn't come to fruition, but now the 7,000 pieces are gone, and they're in places where everybody can see them. Little Norway is sprinkled all over the nation. Foundations, museums, family members, all these wonderful pieces, these treasures that we could no longer take care of, are lovingly being taken care of, and people can see them, and how lucky we are with that. Now the final piece, the last piece left. It's going back to Orkdal. What a fitting ending for its 122 years in America. And of course, the delegation from Norway is here to take it back, and they express so much love for the future of the building. This building was built in Orkdal, and just think about this. The committee at the Chicago World's Fair asked many countries if they would bring an exhibit to the World's Fair. By the time Norway made their commitment to come to the World's Fair, there was no plans for the building, and less than 100 days later, and throwing 300 people at the project, this is the result. Immediately, it was put on a boat to come to America. 400 buildings went to that World's Fair, or was constructed for that World's Fair. And the first National Day was September 17th, 1893, 17. Mai. The Norwegian Independence Day was the first celebration of an international day at the World's Fair. Later on, the building went to be named the most ornate building at the World's Fair. And as a fully intact building, this is the only one left. Out of the 63 international buildings, they have all been destroyed or totally taken apart and just parts of them used. And the only two buildings that are left in Chicago is the Science Industry Museum and the Field Museum, which have been totally rebuilt. So this is it. So I'm going to ask a few of my friends and my wife and my partner, Jennifer, to come up here. And I want Arna, Olaf Sigrud, and Kai Roger Magnatun to come up here. And as they come up, I want to tell you a little bit of a story, and then I'm going to introduce you to them, and we'll see where it goes after that. 1 year ago today, 4 people showed up on my doorstep. They've been trying to get a hold of me for a while, and they wanted to come to Little Norway so they could come and see the Norwegian Pavilion from the World's Fair. I was difficult to get a hold of, wasn't I? There's a joke there because after 2.5 years of showing many people the building so that they could come and dream about what they would do with the building if they had it, I was become and come and have the owner take them through on a private tour and then never hear from them again. So I was a little reluctant to do it again. It made it difficult for people to come but then when I heard from Danny at the Channel 27 News that they had contacted her also and that I should probably do something about this, I got a hold of them through the internet, and we made an agreement that they could come and they could see the building. And Olaf Sigurd's and his cousin Sigrid, grandfather, had done the carving around the door. And they wanted to come and see the building, and Olaf Sigurd had been talking about it from his grandfather almost all of his life. And so they recognized it as this final chime to see the building also, and the first time, quite frankly. And so they came to the door, and I walked up here with them, and we opened up the door, and I said, I have lots of work to do, so I'm going to allow you to just be with the building for a while. They came up a couple hours later, and after 1,000 tears and 10,000 pictures, it was time for them to be on their way. Sigrid gave me a big bouquet of flowers, which was so sweet. And you could see the genuine, truly the genuine love they had for the building. So what I would like to do is this is a symbolic key. We give the key to Olaf Sigurd. His grandfather did the carving. And on behalf of the state of Wisconsin, the Daly Hobson Winter family, we turn the building over to you. So I'm going to give this to Olaf Sigurd, but I want to also introduce the people quickly as I know them, and I'd like to introduce them the way I know them. Olaf Sigurd is as I said, the gentleman that has his grandfather has done the carving, and he was here 1 year ago today, exactly. And as I said to them, you're not moving a building, you're moving a community to move a building. And that's what they've done. 1 year later, they turn around and are here to tear down the building tomorrow. And they will make it better because of the reconstruction. And I would like to also say that I think this is the largest repatriation of a building leaving America to another country. Next to Jennifer is Arne. Arne is a communicator. He was the first step forward in some ways. His job was to secure a price and see if we would sell it.
Don't tell that story now.
I won't. No, I won't tell that story. But and he also is a historian. He's greatly appreciates history and what the Tom's Company, the people that built this, and of course the area around Orkdal and Trondheim. And then next to Arne is Kai Roger. Kai Roger is the head of culture affairs, is that correct? Yeah, yes. And it will be his responsibility from now on for the maintenance and the care of the building. So I would like to, with that, give this to Olaf Sigurd. And good luck with the building. I'm sure you'll do a fabulous job.
Thank you very much for the key. It's a big key. I haven't tried it yet. Does it fit?
It's symbolic. It's symbolic.
Okay. It's a symbolic, and it is because the building is going back to Norway. The Norway building is going back to Norway, where it was born. And it's a very big honor to get it. What I was thinking now was to give you a gift from us, from Norway here. I thought to give you a gift from us Norwegian gang sitting by that table. And this gift is in my suitcase. And the suitcase is in Los Angeles. So it was very bad luck. It's the first time I lose a suitcase when traveling. But I will give you a card, and I want to read what we have written on the card. To the Winner family, thank you for your very good caretaking of the Norway building through 80 years in Little Norway. Your care made it possible to bring it back home to Orkanger. We think that Thames Pavilion will become a treasure for the valley of Orkdal. From Project Heimat and the volunteers being here tonight. We call you the gang of Orkdal. and all people have written their names on the second side.
Thank you so much.
The gift, I can tell you, is a glass art made by a woman in Orkanger living nearby the fabric who made this building. But you'll see it later.
Along with your clothes.
I think it's good for you and good for us Norwegian to be together today. You wish the Norway building farewell back home to Norway after 122 years trip in United States of America. Scott and Jennifer has taken good care of the building. So, but tomorrow we start to take it down. That's the fact. I'm sorry.
At least you apologized.
Now I will tell you about the start of the Heimat history. In a way, the dream started in 1970. I got a Christmas present from my uncle, and that present was a picture of this building. I did not know about this history. I didn't know about the exhibition in Chicago in 1893. I learned this building was the Norway Pavilion, which had been produced by 300 employees at Strandheim Bruk in Orkanger. And that my grandfather, Peder Kvåle, had the responsibility of decorating the building inside and outside. This was very interesting, but I was busy with family and work. But the years go fast, and when I retired, we decided to take a trip to Wisconsin and see the building. We had wanted that for a long time. But as you said, Scott, it was difficult to get in here. We started with the phone, but you didn't take the phone. So we gave up that. The next was the journalist. We found your address on the net, and I wrote a mail to you and asked if you could help us. And you tried. You tried your very best, I think, but no result, no response.
Took a while.
And then we took contact to the Rotary Club in Mount Horeb. No response for us and no response to Scott. Then the relative of Sigrid, my cousin, took a phone call to Scott. She was had been a teacher, and I think she used big letters in the. And then you opened Little Norway for us. That's very good. But in the beginning, we got a mail from you, and you told us to meet at 9 o'clock in Saturday morning, and we could be here for 1 hour. And okay, we were very glad for that. Then we had to find out how to get in here, and we got a new mail from you, and we agreed that we should go to your private entrance. Then we could be here for 2 hours. Yeah. So we went to America, and we got here and we was very eager to see the building, and we was wondering how the situation was for it, and we was very impressed of the status of the building. Very glad for that. And we took a lot of pictures. That's correct. And we thought this was the last time we would see the building, so it's a very special evening for us being here, bringing the building back to Norway. I think many have helped us to make this true. It's the Virkdal community has given a lot of money, not enough, but we have people dealing with giving us money, and companies and others. So we'll come to the goal at last. We think, and of course the volunteers being here tonight, doing work without any pay for the work, is very important. And this is the same situation when we come back to Orkanger and shall put it up again. That's strong and important for us. And all the time we have had a good cooperation with Jennifer and Scott. Very good. Thank you for that.
Of course.
Then I will get back to my grandfather, my and Sigrid's grandfather, and more people back in Norway. His son, Anders, wrote a poem about his father, and I will read one of his verses. find the correct one. We now recall what you yourself meant was the best you did in your life. In 1893, you decorated the State Church for the World Exposition in Chicago. Peder Kvåle had shown the world his art in wood carving here. We children are glad and proud for what you really did there. I should like my grandfather to see this today. Maybe he does. Thank you.
Thanks, Olaf Sigrud. Next, I would like to introduce Kai Roger Mungatun.
The speaker, you're going to have to probably hold it, maybe.
This is a historic moment for us all. We are so thankful that we can be here today. We will celebrate the conclusion of the American history of the Norwegian Pavilion and the start of the Norwegian history. This pavilion was built in Orkdal in 1893. At that time, Norway was a poor country, but our national resources were abundant. Norway worked hard to become an independent country. When Norway was going to present themselves at the World Exhibition in Chicago in 1893, the state decided that the Norwegian Pavilion will be built as a replica of a state church. State churches are the best of Norwegian architecture and culture, and our oldest state churches are almost 1,000 years old. In Orkdal we had a company named Strandheim Bruk. Over 300 people worked here, and they produced prefab that was exported to all continents. This firm was given the honor to produce the Norwegian Pavilion. As a resident of Orkdal, we are very proud of the job our ancestors did. During 3 months the pavilion was built. This is a historic achievement. We are full of admiration for the great work the American people had laid down to preserve the building in its 122 years. The building has been in the United States. We must especially thank the family winner for everything they have done. The gratitude we feel cannot be expressed with words. Scott has repeatedly said, "We were the lucky ones," when he talks about the period his family has owned the Norwegian Pavilion. We want to continue by saying that we are the lucky ones who will experience to bring the building back to Norway. The day we signed the purchase contract was a big moment both for Orkdal municipality and for Norway as a country. The evening before we signed the agreement, I had a conversation with Scott, and Scott said to me, "Tomorrow we make history." We promise to the whole assembly that we should continue the building's history. When some of your grandchildren or great-grandchildren will visit Orkdal in the future, they will experience the Norwegian Pavilion just like you have done here in Little Norway. On behalf of the residents in Orkdal, we are truly the lucky ones. Thank you.
Thanks, Kai Roger. Next, I would like to introduce Arnie. He has been really the backbone, and in many ways, Arnie has been connected to Jennifer's and my hip for basically 6 months. But
We are connected.
Arne.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a strong moment for me too, like for Scott. Go back a little bit. In 1987, I lived in Madison with my whole family, wife and 3 boys. And of course, we went out to visit Little Norway. And when I came here and saw the pavilion, I would say that I fell in love with first sight. I didn't know about it, in fact. I heard about all of the Tom's building and so on, but I didn't know it was located here in Little Norway. So it was a great surprise to us, and positive surprise to see this a great item from our own home valley in Orkdal, Norway. You see, we are so very sorry that the present to the winner family from the Project Heimat is sitting in a suitcase in Los Angeles, as mentioned. And all the 13 Norwegians here were told to bring a personal gift to Scott for his birthday. And we think we will have a great parade of 13 gifts being presented, but we found it was too much. So I took the liberty to present my gift to Scott because it has a story attached to it. We like stories, we like great stories. This is a great story we are experiencing tonight. It's history in the making. And I'll tell you this story. It's a book because in year 2000, there was an immigration jubilee in Orkdal for all the immigrants that left Orkdal for the United States. And I was on the committee, and we wrote a book chronicling this history. It's called The Emigration from Orkdal to America. And I was a co-author of this book with some other guys. And this was in 2000, and as mentioned, I have been to this site and seen the Norway building, and I thought I would like to write this story about the Norway building in the book. But another guy came ahead of me. It was the local editor of the newspaper in Orkdal, Morten Volden. I'll write that story, he says. And I was kind of disappointed because he hasn't even been here and seen the building. So, but I didn't haggle too much about that. So we made the book, and it came out, and it's this story in here. This is the building up there, and it says, "From Strandheim to Little Norway." It's a very interesting story that Morten Volden wrote. But the interesting thing I want to point out to you now is that Morten Volden, he was the local editor of the newspaper. He moved on to an interesting career in Trondheim, the closest city to Orkdal. Had a very nice career there. But the main thing is that now, on the October 1st, he will start a new job. And his new job is Chief Director of Orkdal Municipality. So he'll have a full plate on the 1st of October. And on this plate, we will serve him the Norway building. And now you know that he was interested in this building already in 2000, and he haven't even visited. So he will take good care of it. We will take good care of it. The Orkdal community will take good care of it. So it comes home. It's Project Heimat. It comes home. And it will be a great tourist attraction to our area. So that's quite interesting. So, Scott, I'll give you this book so you can read it. And I wrote to you here, "Scott, what a great guy you are." Your Norwegian friend Arnie. And then it says down here, "Teardrop," because I felt a teardrop when I wrote this, indicating a big thank you, the teardrop. And down here, "We are brothers, not in blood, but in tears."
Yes. Thank you, Scott. We did it together. Thank you.
So, the family's owned this land for 88 years. This building has been for 80 years. We had Little Norway open for 75 years. All the people that were a part of it, the Daly family, the Hobson family, the Winter family, they all put their time and energy into this project. It was a group project for 5 generations. I've been the lucky one, as I've said over and over. But what I've been the lucky one about is that people come and tell me what Little Norway has meant to them. And they've told me how much it has been a part of their family and part of their experience, whether they're Norwegian or not. And people like Jennifer holding me up and the other family members holding me up and making sure that I was the one in the sunshine and I was the one that got to take all the credit, but it wasn't me. It was many, many people that did it. And I've been the one that's been showered all the compliments. And it's been, I'm standing on their shoulders. This is my mother's family's property. My dad was half Norwegian. His family is from Bergen. My mother was half Norwegian. Her family was Telemark. And I've been the one that gets all the accolades for all the work. But I want to tell you about when I told my mom that Little Norway would be closing. I went over to her house and she was in a nursing home. It wasn't far or long before she was going to pass away. And I said to her, Mom, I have to close Little Norway. It's a decision that we don't have a choice of. The decision is made for us. And it's a heavy heart for me. My mom smiled at me and she looked at me and she said, we have been the fortunate ones to be able to show all these people for decades our Norwegian heritage. And when we close the door with all 5 generations hands together. And we close the door together and we think, we were the lucky ones. So I take that sentiment and my mother's words, and I'm proud of what we've done and how we've done it.